The Gold Sheet wants you to end the 2022 football season on a winning note while getting a head start on planning for the next season. Founded in 1957, the Gold Sheet is the country's longest-running sports betting newsletter and has served bettors for over 6 decades. So if between 1957 and now, if you have not checked out the Gold Sheet, here's your chance to see what you have been missing out on at a huge discount. Each weekly edition of the Football Gold Sheet is normally $15, but for the holidays, you can get every edition from now through Super Bowl 57 for just a total of $19. If you like what you see, take advantage of the super early bird pricing for next year by locking in your Football Gold Sheet subscription for 2023 for just $99. You will receive every college football and NFL edition for next season for just $99, plus a free $59 credit to use towards Gold Sheet's LTS picks at WagerTalk. Instructions for redeeming your WagerTalk credit will be sent shortly after your purchase. Just go to goldsheet.com, click the Buy Now button, choose a 2022 Football Gold Sheet for $19, and lock yourself in through the Super Bowl 57.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Monday to you now, December the 26th. Certainly hope your holiday was a festive one and hopefully a profitable one. We got a few more days left here in 2022. We'll welcome in a brand new year soon enough, but plenty of NBA action between now and then, including a nice slate of games here tonight. We're going to break down for you, see if we can't find a couple of edges that everyone likes, and we're going to do it with three of the finest at WagerTalk.com as we welcome back in the prop god Andy Lang in the house. Teddy Covers, always a pleasure to see him, both at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. And Steve, 2R's 1L Merrill, hanging out here on a Monday. Gentlemen, happy holidays to you all. And Andy, I know on a $9 Monday, we got a slate of games here in the association. Anything locked and loaded for us at Wager Talk?
Yeah, going all NBA tonight. I don't think we're going to have anything on Monday Night Football. I'm not sure what to do with my Colts with the Nick Foles experience taking place just in the nick of time for the end of the year. Great move. But very, very excited about this slate of NBA games. I think there's a lot of really good matchups, especially coming after Christmas. A lot of teams are rested, so I don't think there's going to be as many injury report issues today as there has been in the past. Obviously, there's going to be a couple games, but I've had a lot of plays that I've had my eye on all day, so they're up at WagerTalk.com. Many more plays than normal. Normally, I'm like one or two plays, but I think by tip-off, we're going to have 4 or 5. So that pack is $9. No better time to grab a play with 4 or 5 NBA props than today. $9 at WagerTalk.com. Looking forward to a great Monday night.
Love it, Andy. Teddy, what is going on, my man, here as we close out 2022? Anything ready to roll over there at Wager Talk and or SportsMemo.com on a $9 Monday?
Yeah. I mean, the football's gone south in a hurry, but the NBA's been just rock solid. I love the NBA, and I've been very thankful for it here in the month of December. I've got a pair of plays up. One's a free play. That is also a client play. You can get that free over my page over at WagerTalk and or SportsMemo.com. The other one you'll get on today's show, so stay tuned.
All right, closing out the month on a high note, closing out the year, Steve Merrill, on a high note, and whether it's bowl, NFL, NBA, college, what do you got going for a $9 Monday?
Yeah, went 5-1 this weekend on Saturday and Sunday in the NFL. And we have another NFL best bet tonight as we look to make it 6-1 for the week here, the holiday weekend. $9 Monday, NFL Monday Night Football, Chargers, and Andy Lang's Jeff Saturday-like Colts.
Woo!
Play that game. And I also have an NBA best bet. I do have a best bet in the NBA tonight for $9 as well, a moneymaker. So great time to check out a 2-for-1 special. Even put up a 2-for-1 for $9. So, Joe, that's really $4.50 Monday for Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Solid point. Yes, jolly old St. Nick to the rescue tonight in Monday Night Football. Let's move on here, gentlemen, to the contrarian play of the day. We're going to take a look at a game here tonight that involves the Charlotte Hornets getting 5 now on the road, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. I think wrapping up their West Coast trip here. 5 is what they are getting, both rested. But the contrarian gods feel that may be just a little too much in this matchup. Andy, what do you like in this game?
Well, first off, how many times are the Hornets going to be the contrarian gods play? I mean, I feel like every time they play, it's just like, all right, contrarian god, Charlotte Hornets. Keep the template graphics team, just Charlotte Hornets. Every time they play. Yeah, of course I'm rolling with the contrarian gods. What is this Portland Trailblazers team doing right now? They're losing to Denver, losing to Oklahoma City a couple times in a row. Listen, we all know the Hornets are in pretty big trouble, but they at least got a win Friday, which was, I believe, our overtime game, and they definitely went over. They held the Lakers to 130 points, but they got 134 themselves. I like Teddy coughing whenever I bring up that they held the Lakers to 130. It even makes Teddy a little nauseous. But yeah, let's go. Let's take the 5 points. Absolutely, this game could be in the overtime segment. I don't see much defense being played from both of these teams, so absolutely I will take this one. I went back and forth between several of these props. Whenever you're talking to a Trailblazers game, you got to be looking at Lillard, you got to be looking at Grant, you got to be looking at Simons, but also when you're facing the Charlotte Hornets, you got to look at the center because the Hornets are just an all-time bad team against centers. And it just kind of led me to the conclusion, I'm not sure what Trailblazer I really want to put my money behind. So I go and look at the Hornets, and I think I'm just going right back to LaMelo Ball over his assists. Since he's come back from the injury, his points have been really good, but I really like how he's been distributing the ball the last couple games. 8, 12, and 12 the last 3 games, and these Trailblazers can be involved in some real shootouts. They're 17th in defensive efficiency the last 10 games. I have a feeling this game is going to go over the total. And if we have a lot of shots being made, the assists have to come from somewhere. I really like the way LaMelo is passing the ball and getting other guys involved. So take this over 7.5 assists. It's not juiced by any stretch. It's a really good price. Give me LaMelo Ball as my favorite prop in this one.
All right, good stuff there. Teddy, Charlotte, Portland, not exactly 2 of the finest defensive teams, but Charlotte split the game so far in this West Coast trip. 3-1, I believe, against the number. Feels like a little high here. I think it opened up at 6. Looks like it's coming down to 5 here. You think Charlotte's got a shot in this one to cover it?
Yeah, considering where Charlotte was a month ago to where they are now, this team's arrow is pointed up. And I think if you bet on Charlotte right now, you're more likely to make money than against them. And Portland's certainly not a team I'm comfortable laying a price with. But when you bring Ball back in the equation, now Ball's it's gotten a little bit of rhythm offense. We talked about some of those assist numbers. What that does, it puts Oubre back on the bench. And that gives them a spark off the bench, which their bench has been killed all year. All year their bench has been awful. And now that hasn't been happening since you get Oubre back on the bench. And for all the opposing centers against Mason Plumlee, and PJ Washington, it's certainly not a big interior front court for Charlotte. When they're playing their style, fast, up-tempo, lots of three-point looks, something that Portland's very willing to play, they're a decent team. Yeah, 5's too many. 5.5, which you can get if you shop around, is too many. I'll play contrarian here as well.
All right. Talk to us here, Merrill. It's actually been a pretty decent trip for him out west here. This is the 5th game here on this road trip. You think they can cover? I don't know. Heck, maybe even pull off the outright win here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a hurry to back a Portland squad that's 0-3 straight up in ATS their last 3. They haven't played a home game in exactly 2 weeks. December 12th, 2 Mondays ago, was the last time they were at home. That, of course, is because they're coming off that 6-game road stand. And normally, that's a pretty good angle to fade a team when they're back at home for the first time. But the difference here is that they've had 2 days off. They got back on Friday. Well, they played the road game Friday, so they got back Saturday, Christmas Eve. Got to figure there are probably some distractions, though, on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day, Sunday, especially after being away for 2 weeks. So I think the fact that Charlotte remains on the West Coast trip might actually benefit them here. And once again, two bad defensive teams that you mentioned, Joe, both give up around 48% shooting. I'd rather have the points with the underdog at the +5, 5.5. And some of the consensus numbers I look at other areas, which I do with the NFL, the Portland Trailblazers do look like the most public play this evening out of the 7 games. So I definitely have no problem fading the public NBA style and taking the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, both teams rested here tonight, guys, in this one. It will be the late game. So Charlotte's taking those 5.5 is the contrarian play of the day. Let's take a look at the featured matchup tonight. All eyes, I'm sure, will be on the red-hot Brooklyn Nets as they take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Not a whole heck of a line movement one way or the other in this one, too, is what we are seeing. The total hovering around that 220.5. Andy, got to be a player or two you're looking at prop-wise in this game?
Oh, absolutely. I talked about Darius Garland going under his point total on Friday, and his point total was 19.5. He got to 17 and just came under that total. And I talked about how Toronto was really good at defense with OG Anunoby in the lineup. And sure enough, I'm going to go back to Garland. I think the Nets are much better at defense than the public generally realizes. He does not go over this total against good defensive teams. He's gone over 3 times this total this month, and 2 of those times were against the Lakers and the Pacers, not exactly great defensive teams. Donovan Mitchell was absolutely terrible in the Cavaliers last game. I think this is a really nice rebound spot for Donovan Mitchell. I wouldn't be surprised if he went toe-to-toe with Kyrie tonight, as I think both teams can score on the perimeter. I just don't think there's going to be enough points to go around, and the Nets are a surprisingly top 12 defensive team the last 10 games that they've played. I think this number is a little bit too high for Darius Garland. I'm pretty surprised the books haven't moved off this 19.5 point total. Give me Garland under. It's going to be a little bit of a sweat because I'm sure he's going to get into those mid to just barely into the higher teens at 16, 17. But cash last time, I'm going to keep fading Darius Garland when he's playing these top half defensive teams. Give me Garland under 19.5 points.
Garland it is. Teddy, 8-0 run for these Nets. Durant is playing out of his mind. Simmons looks like he's getting a little more comfortable. What do you think of this matchup here tonight? Side, total, how do you approach it?
So from a side standpoint, for me, this game's as clear a pass as you're going to find. All right. There are 30 teams in the NBA. There's only one of those 30 teams that I made a note and made a second note and made a third note. Don't bet against this team at home. And that's Cleveland. Cleveland has this, from my powering numbers, the strongest home court advantage in the NBA. And I won't fade them at home, and I won't fade them off a loss at home. So it's clear Cleveland or pass. But it's got to be pass because I'm not stepping in front of Brooklyn right now. This is the role we want Brooklyn in. We don't want them at home laying points. We want them on the road catching points. They've been great stepping up in class in the highway. They've been great on the road overall. They've been great against the better teams, and they're red hot right now. Easy pass from a side standpoint. From a total standpoint, we have a Cavs team coming off a poor defensive game against Toronto. We have a 50% shooting, give a bunch of three-pointers, and then we're not happy with the rotations after the game. We have a Nets team that is coming off a stellar defensive showing and is talking about playing defense right now. The pace isn't going to be there in this one. Maybe you look under for Cavs and Nets. That's the only way I would play this one. Sidewise is a clear pass for me.
Should be a great litmus test for these teams here, Steve. After, don't forget, the official start of the NBA season happened yesterday. So what do you think, Merrill? Is it Brooklyn? Is it Cleveland? Total side? What are you looking at in this one?
I like that the official start is 2 months into the season, 34 games in. But that's about right, Joe. I actually watched some NBA yesterday, I think, for the first time all year. So I'm with you on that. I was thinking, too, the NBA had to be upset that the NFL did basically Thanksgiving Day Part 2 on the same day they had their huge, Christmas slate. So they couldn't catch a break. But it's interesting what Teddy said about the under because your initial thought on this game is, look, you got 2 Class A teams, high-profile game. Both are a couple days rested. That normally leads to unders. And then, of course, as you said, Cleveland coming off the bad defensive showing. And the last few times they've done that, they've gone under every time. The last 3 times they've given up 50% or more, they've gone under the total in the following game over the last month. With that said, I can't get to the under here on this game because these two offenses are just fantastic. I mean, put in perspective how good Brooklyn is offensively right now. They have shot at least 50% or higher, actually 52% or higher in 7 of their last 9 games. The only 2 times they didn't, they hit 49 and 49.5%. This is a team that's averaging like 55, 57% over the last couple of weeks from the field. And both teams are very mediocre defensively overall in the season. They're both below average 3-point defense combined. They're both good shooting teams. So I think the situational setup mentions the under. However, the matchup and just the offensive abilities here will keep me off the total. I'd probably lean over if I had to play the total just based on these strong offenses. I do think it's a decent spot for Cleveland, though. And like Teddy said, I like the fact that they're coming off a bad defensive showing. I think at home, they're more likely to be the team that steps up tonight.
Should be a good one, guys. Brooklyn, Cleveland here tonight. Get ready for that one. While we'll get ready to focus on a total in our overtime matchup. And this one's been moving significantly in one direction, but maybe it's gone too much here as the Rockets and the Bulls get ready to do battle here tonight. It opened up 226 and a half, and we've seen nothing but this line continue to rise, hovering around that 231 mark here. So Houston and Chicago, who actually has been halfway decent here these last couple of games. Andy, is there anybody in particular you would focus on in the prop market?
Yeah, and it's going to be a little bit of an obscure one. I am going to take Patrick Williams under 11.5 points as my favorite prop in this one. He's gone over this total only twice in his last 15 games. He just doesn't shoot a lot. He doesn't shoot enough to get over this total. He does not get to the free throw line. In 2 games that he went over, the Bulls scored 126 and 144 points. It's just been a nice fade all season for Patrick Williams. Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, they're just getting all of the points. I actually think this is a really nice DeRozan game. It wouldn't surprise me if he had a big one. I would look at DeRozan over his PRA and possibly his points. But Patrick Williams, I think he's just fade material when they keep hanging this 11.5 points. He's gotten to 11 several times during the streak. So once this drops down to 10.5, I'll probably get off of it. But Patrick Williams under 11.5. I know it's our overtime game, but I'm going to take the under as my favorite prop in this game.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. Teddy, no Caruso, I think, again here tonight. So obviously, defensively for Chicago, that's a bit of a hit, though. But is this a game where you can only look at the over, or does the under have value now?
Well, 231 has value. The last 5 times the Rockets have been totaled at 228 or higher, they've stayed under the total. You know, there's this thought process of Houston just over, doesn't matter how high the total is. Chicago's not going to run with them. That's not the way the Bulls want to play. They just played a faster than expected pace game against the Knicks that went over the total. That I think is why this total is getting hit as much as it is right now with all of that over money. And it's not over money that I'm going to rush to step in front of, to be perfectly honest. You know, this is the sharpest of the sharp money that's coming in the day after Christmas, telling us that maybe they're going to be a step slow defensively or a step fast offensively. But that being said, the Bulls don't want to play with pace with the Rockets. They don't want to run up and down the court with the Rockets. The Rockets, at least from a verbal standpoint, I've seen a couple of Houston quotes talking about defense lately, which I haven't really heard many of them all year. And the Rockets have been staying under numbers that have been inflated this high of late. Lean under if I had to play.
All right, leaning towards the under in this one. Merrill, how about you? We've seen the number continue to climb. So is it continuing for you in that trend here? Is it just over or not in this spot?
Yeah, I think it's over or not. And like Teddy said, I do think the sharp money is on the over in this game, and I would agree with it. And once again, Chicago shooting the ball pretty well. I mean, look, all these teams have been off except for the teams that played yesterday. Obviously, they've all been off since Friday. 2 days of off. You never know how the holidays affect the home team. So, you know, maybe Chicago comes a little distracted here. And they also, by the way, returned home after a 4-game road trip over the previous week. So it's kind of like that Portland situation where they just get back on Saturday morning and they have the holidays. So I don't know how that'll affect them. But if anything, if there's little bit of complacency. I think that often shows on the defensive side. And the Bulls have been a really good offensive team. Otherwise, this team has shot at least 50% or higher in 7 of their last 9 games. And I think they'll have plenty of success, obviously, against a bad Houston Rocket defense. And our producer, Robert, will have to cover his ears when I say this. They give up 118 points and 50% shooting from the field in their 16 road games this season. So Chicago will definitely get over 50% most likely tonight. Bulls, though, giving up 48% shooting on this season. They've been a below average defensive team. And if they are a little bit hungover from the festive return home this weekend, I think Houston can get some points as well. So over would be the only way I'd play it.
All right. Only up and over for Merrill in that one. So 7 games on the card here tonight. That means there's going to be a few dogs barking here, Robert.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right, let's see if we can find a couple of dogs barking here tonight. Brooklyn, as we mentioned, Detroit, dog, Minnesota, Houston there, San Antonio, Indiana, and Charlotte rounds it out here. So, Andy, kick us off here. Is there a dog that might be barking for you? Mind you that Andy nailed his dog on Friday with the Indiana Pacers against the Miami Heat. How about it now, Andy? Where are you going?
Joe, did you just try and do a Minnesota accent?
I did. Yeah.
Did you do that one more time?
Nope. No, I watched Fargo for some strange reason at 2:30 in the morning, and it stuck with me. So go ahead.
My family's from up there. You did pretty good. Minnesota, yeah, shoot ya. Yeah. Oh yeah. I like the Timberwolves, and so. All right, so yeah, I actually do like the Timberwolves. I can go on for days. I do like the Timberwolves side. Joe, I remember when I said the Indiana Pacers might be one of the happiest teams in the NBA because when we got that huge storm, they happened to pull the road game in Miami. So they were excited. They came out and won. Guess who else is happy? Minnesota. They went on the road on Friday to Boston, and then they get to hightail it down for a couple days off in Miami. So they're probably pretty excited. I don't trust this Miami Heat team. They lost the last 2 games against Indiana and Chicago. And even before that, they beat San Antonio by 10. They beat Houston by 3, Oklahoma City by 2. They're not covering much. And Adebayo is out, which to me is the biggest reason to take this one. Gobert should be able to control the boards, and I think they have a big rebounding advantage. Russell's been playing really well. Edwards is playing really well. And Jimmy Butler is still questionable. We don't have an official designation if he's in or out after the 4:30 report, but I would take them as my dog now because if Butler is out, I think this line moves up pretty good. I think this is a really good spot for Minnesota. And like I said, don't trust this Heat team right now. They're just not the Heat team that we've seen the last couple of years. So I know it's short. They're only getting +2, +1.5, but I think Minnesota wins outright at Miami tonight.
2-8 in the last 10. Miami 10-22-1 ATS. Worst covered team in the NBA. Thanks, Pat Riley. Appreciate that. Teddy, which one of these dogs might be barking for you here tonight?
Well, let's talk about the biggest dog on the board, the Houston Rockets, plus the 7.5. This one, there are 2 key factors in play for me. First of all, is a spot for Chicago. All right. Chicago started out the road trip. They gave up $150 to Minnesota. And then they kind of circled the wagons and beat Miami and beat Atlanta and beat New York, all as underdogs. You return home. You get Christmas with the family. You have Milwaukee on deck. And, in the meantime, here's Houston the day after Christmas. Go be focused. I'm not buying it. We're going to see Chicago's best effort tonight. And then we have a Rockets team. Remember how that Rockets homestand started? They had a 7-game homestand. They beat the Bucks. And they beat the Suns. They smacked them both to open it up. And then they lost that game to Miami and then Portland and then San Antonio and Orlando and Dallas. And it wasn't pretty to close out that homestand. The quote, Jabari Smith, the rookie, quote, these last couple of games, we feel like we haven't played like us. It's been difficult just we feel like it's all on us. We haven't been coming out with the right mindset, the right energy. So this might be a game the Rockets show up. I'm not convinced Chicago does. Give me Houston plus the points.
All right. Boom. Rockets it is for Teddy. Merrill, which one of these 7 are you looking at here tonight to bark?
Yeah, first of all, just look at the public consensus data. There's no public dogs tonight, so I think we're safe to maybe look at all of these. But the one that jumps out to me is Minnesota that Andy mentioned and that you mentioned as well. The better team, they're both 16 and 17, but I think the T-Wolves are the better team, especially if Miami is shorthanded. And like Andy said, the injury report right now has several key guys that are questionable. I doubt they all play, and I think it's a good spot for Minnesota, especially after back-to-back losses. They got the first game against Dallas. They lost the quick rematch, so we'll give them a pass there. And then they lost to the Celtics, who are one of the best teams in the league, on the road Friday. I think they bounce back here. And I don't want to dare say your Miami Heat is a step down in class, but I think it is, Joe. 2 teams, identical records, both off back-to-back losses. I'd rather have what I consider the better team, Minnesota, at an underdog price tonight.
Yeah, they've been dead to me for about a month now, so I won't catch me betting Miami Heat anytime soon. But we do have, of course, with these 7 games, an opportunity to make a best bet on one of them, and that's what we've got. All right, you guys know how it works. 60 seconds on the clock. Don't really care what you do with it. Just give us a best bet somewhere in that 60. Andy Lang, start us off here, man. Where are you going on a $9 Monday?
Well, you said it, $9 Monday. Got a complete NBA package that is up on WagerTalk.com. We're going to have plenty of plays tonight as I like some of the matchups. And I think the injury report and the rest coming off of the Christmas weekend falls into our favor. I haven't done this before. I haven't really doubled up on a team, but for my best bet, I'm going the Timberwolves over 110.5 on the team total. So I'm looking at this Miami Heat team. They just gave up 111 to Indiana and 113 to Chicago. That was with Bam Adebayo in the lineup. Before that, they did a pretty decent job holding San Antonio and Houston and Oklahoma City under. I just think this roster is a little bit depleted tonight. And I look at the Timberwolves. They're coming off of 2 losses, but they're against good defensive teams. They scored 109 against Boston, only 99 against Dallas, but before that, 116, 150, and 112. If I'm going all in on the Minnesota Timberwolves to win outright, I think they get to that 115 mark, well over their team total. Give me the Timberwolves over their team total, 110.5 tonight.
Boom. All right, I love that. Team total up and over for the T-Wolves. All right, Teddy, crushing it in the association, my man. Let's keep it rolling. What's your best bet here tonight?
Let's talk a little total for this evening in Detroit, where the Pistons are taking on the Clippers. Right now, we got the Clips -5.5, -6 without Kawhi Leonard on the road. Total, let's call it 223. There are 223.5s out there. I like this game up and over the total. Clippers aren't just kind of trending over. Their last 8 road games have all flown over the total. Their last road game that stayed under was November 15th. Okay? That's what the Clip, and real quiet. No one's paying, and the quotes coming out of the Clips are, hey, even with Kawhi out, they've got most of their pieces back, and the quotes are, hey, we're starting to come together offensively. We're starting to gel. The Pistons don't play any defense. Their defensive numbers are absolutely atrocious. Of late, they went up $122 or more 6 times their last 7 ball games. They lost by 20 the time they didn't. Detroit can score. They can't stop anyone. I expect this one to get up and over the total, even with a relatively slow pace. This one still goes over.
Clippers, Teddy is so right, too, man. The Clippers are one of the best teams that nobody's talking about. Is beyond me. All right, you got it there. Talk to me here, Merrill. 60 seconds on the clock, $9 Monday. What do you like here for the show?
Yeah, it's right. It's $9 Monday. Quick reminder, it's $9 Monday. That means all best bets are $9. I've got Monday Night Football. We went 5-1 this weekend in the NFL. Get the Monday Night winner plus Monday Night NBA, a side best bet, a moneymaker. Each are $9. You'll get the 2-for-1 special for $9. That works out to $4.50 Monday night for Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at a free play that was just a bit outside for making the cut tonight in the NBA at 8 o'clock Eastern on Monday. Going to take over the total between the Rockets and Bulls. Open to the 227.5 range. It's up to 230.5. A lot of sharp money on the over between Houston and Chicago, and I agree with that money move. Houston, terrible defensively this year. 118 points allowed, 50% shooting on average in their 16 road games. Chicago has shot 50% or better in 7 of their last 9 games overall. So we know they're going to get the points. I think Houston will as well. They've played some really tough teams recently, but against the bad teams, they've routinely scored 110 to 115 range over the past month. Over the totals, Rockets and Bulls, 8 o'clock Eastern. Cut down the nets, Joe.
Oh, look at that. Little late season prop action. Very nice, Merrill. Love it. All right, one more time. Let's recap it for you here as Andy Lang, his dog tonight, barking. Minnesota going in Miami here, 1.5 for that, but he's also doubling up because his best bet's going to be the team total for the T-Wolves over 110.5. Teddy, he going with Houston tonight, +7.5 here. He is not buying in to the Chicago Bulls to win by margin. He is looking at the over 223, though, with the Clippers and Detroit tonight for his best bet on the show, while Merrill, he's in agreement with Andy. Minnesota is the way to go, but his best bet is going to be that Chicago and Rockets game up and over the 230.5, while the contrarian gods today, Charlotte +5 in that late game action tonight in Portland. And don't forget, $9 Monday, which means best bet's $9, and you can get Teddy's and as well as Andy's, as well as Steve Merrill's. If you head over to WagerTalk.com, visit their pages. Get them, guys. $9 best bet Monday. Love that. This is the final week of 2022. No reason not to make it one of the most profitable all year as we get ready for a new year. 2023 just around the corner. Of course, we'll be back again tomorrow. New slate of games, full card here in the association, and we've got you covered. Until then, on behalf of Teddy Covers, Andy Lang, and Steve R1L Merrill, guys, we appreciate it. Best of luck with all your plays here tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you then.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.